Hi, I'm Lila McRae.
And my name's Blair Reed. We're both grade 11 students at King's Christian Collegiate, and for our BASF study, we decided to do a survey on how specifically our community had been affected in their emotional well-being and mental health because of online learning. We wanted to see their emotional well-being now, how they deal with emotions, and what their preferred platform was due to their experiences with online learning. We started conducting our survey from November 30th and went till December 3rd. We wanted to get a wide variety of classes and ages, ranging from grade 9 to grade 12, in order to get a representative sample size. We ended up getting 160 student responses and 7 teacher responses. We had a wide variety of responses to 10 questions in our survey. Some of the questions you could do sentence responses to, some were numerical rating, and others were a choice set of responses. For example, one of the questions you could respond with agree, strongly agree, neutral, disagree, and strongly disagree. Then we collected the data and analyzed it using keyword responses and calculated the percentages from those.
So in terms of difficulties, we had trouble with anecdotal data because rather than numerical data where we are given set percentages and set numbers, we had to go through all the data ourselves, so it's definitely time consuming trying to go through each response and pick out keywords and stuff just by ourselves. But honestly, other than that, we didn't have much difficulty. We were doing a human participation survey, so it wasn't very hard rather than like an experimentation.
The purpose of our survey was to find which was the preferred learning platform for both students and teachers, how they are affected now by the online learning experience, and how they deal with emotions as a result. Our hypothesis was that teachers and students would both prefer the in-person platform, and that they would be affected negatively due to lack of socialization in terms of emotional regulation and how they're doing now.
So in looking back at our purpose, one of our things that we were trying to figure out was which was the preferred platform in our school. So there are 3 models for our school: in person, online, and then the hybrid mix. So for our school, the hybrid was just we would do one day in person and the other day online, and we would just switch back and forth throughout the weeks. So 3/4 of our school preferred in-person learning, which I'm not surprised by, because of human interaction, so just being able to see friends, which I know is a huge thing for me and some of my friends, a better learning environment, so just being in class and it keeps you focused and keeps you motivated, and also having teachers nearby just to like ask questions and for that support, and then just an overall better mental health. And then the other quarter preferred online or the hybrid mix because it's easier to manage their own schedules, so it was just easier to keep at their own pace rather than the quick pace of being in school. They can do more extracurriculars, so if that's just like hobbies, or maybe if they're doing like an instrument or something, anything like that. And it's better for like the adults, like the teachers that we surveyed, for a balance of school and home life. I know that that's a huge thing I've heard from some of my teachers, and so it was just easier being at home and being with their families. And then one negative side effect we saw was that a lot of people were just liked the online learning better because they could just slack off without their grades being affected. And then of course the increased technology usage of being on a computer all day and having no regulation for that.
The other 2 aspects of our purpose was to determine how people have been affected with online learning and how they deal with emotions now due to that. In terms of how they had been affected, we were correct in assuming that most people had been negatively impacted due to online learning. Mental health and socialization skills had decreased significantly, and a lot of students were having struggles transitioning back into in-person learning due to higher social and academic expectations. They reported lack of motivation, feeling isolated, and more stressed in group settings. In terms of how they deal with emotion, we were also correct in assuming that the majority of the students had been negatively impacted, but we were not expecting some of the students to say they had been positively impacted with how they deal with emotions. Majority of the students had reported a worsened state of mental health and dealing with the emotions that came with that, such as not talking about it, isolating themselves from social interactions, and in some extreme cases, physically harming themselves. While other students saw improvements due to the increased time that they had to be aware of their emotions and to deal with them. And they were able to take up more beneficial mental health habits, such as exercising, journaling, starting a new hobby, and talking it out with friends to regulate their emotions.
So something that we really enjoyed was just looking through all the different responses, and something that I know that we personally liked was just seeing that we were really expecting a bad outcome, to be honest, just through our personal experiences and also just through our friends' experiences. But we saw a lot of people that actually had come out with awareness of their own mental health and just developing these positive habits to cope with their emotions and just help themselves, and it was really great. And it's just highly insightful to look into the student-teacher responses and the reasonings behind them, and just get a glimpse into some of our peers' lives.
So one of the things that we didn't like while we went through our survey was seeing the negative results and seeing how some students were coping with their emotions and their mental health, and how it just honestly was not a good time for them. But on the flip side, it did make us more empathetic towards what they were going through, and it gave us a really beneficial insight onto how some of the other people in our community had been affected, and it just could be translated to other school boards as well, with students really just need this time of recovery, getting over online learning, and some of the really negative attributes that came with it will take time, and it was beneficial while sad to see those negatives come through.
So other places that we can apply our study is just in other school boards. So honestly, we would love if any other school would take a look at this and just feel the same empathy that we feel towards our peers, and hopefully implement it into whatever decisions they go into next. Businesses that had to pivot to the online platform. So I know that this was a school environment, but honestly, I think we surveyed teachers who are also in a job right now, so I think this can be applied to any other business. And governing bodies deciding platforms, so just governments that are deciding where schools are going to go next. I think it's super important to just consider what students and teachers both are going through and how they've been affected.
In terms of future research, this survey can actually be highly applicable in a lot of other areas. But if me and my partner had more time, we would have wanted to have a wider variety of age groups and to have specific age sample sizes. So if we had taken the time to go through even to elementary school or university ages and just done a 7 through 8-year-old survey, see how they had dealt with online learning, and compare it directly to a 13, 14-year-old survey and see how they directly correlate and how their experiences had differed due to their ages and academic and social expectations. We also would really like to see how specifically technology usage has been affected because of online learning. The regular time was usually around 8 hours plus for high school students. So specifically looking into that would be highly beneficial.
Thank you so much for watching this, and we hope that you learned something or found this interesting in any way. Thank you.